Hey there, my name is David Nason, and I'm a civil engineer, and I'm going to take the next few minutes to talk about my profession, civil engineering. Hopefully, it'll give you a better understanding of what's involved with it, and if it's something that interests you, hopefully, you can spend a little more time checking it out and learning more about it as a career choice. Civil engineering is a pretty diverse field, but in general, it consists of dealing with the design, construction and maintenance of public infrastructure, such as like designing roads, building roads, any sort of utilities like storm drainage or water systems for cities and towns.
One of the cooler types of projects that I get to work on is the design and installation of new synthetic fields. It's really rainy in Washington, so it's much more common these days that high schools and middle schools in our area have synthetic fields so that they can play sports throughout the winter. Usually, what we'll do is we'll rip out the old grass field and then install a new turf field. We'll remove the grass, install drainage, and then put down a rock layer that is the base for the future turf. A lot of time and energy is put into making sure that the fields are really flat, sloped right, and that the bases and home plate are all put in the right location. When the base is ready, they'll then lay out the carpet in big 20-foot wide strips. Sometimes for soccer fields and football fields, they'll put down a giant pad underneath to make the field a little bit softer. This was a baseball field, so we didn't have that. They'll then use a giant sewing machine to sew the strips of turf together and then also to sew in the lines and base paths. After the turf is all sewed together, they'll install infill and then it's ready to play on.
There are lots of different types of civil engineering jobs that all require different education requirements. I took a pretty traditional route in my education and training, and whereas I grew up in Northfield, Vermont, and graduated from Northfield High School. I then went to the University of Vermont and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. For engineering, in order to become a licensed civil engineer, you have to take, it's called a Fundamentals of Engineering exam once you get out of college, and that if you pass that, you're considered an engineering and training. Specifically, that's like an intern, a professional internship, really. Then, after getting 4 years of experience, you're allowed to sit for the licensing exam where you take another written test. And if you pass that, you become a professional engineer. And a professional engineer is then able to be responsible for the design and issuance of drawings for construction. I think engineering would be a great profession for any of you that enjoy building things. There are lots of different types of engineers out there, so there's probably a job that would suit you and do the things that you enjoy the most. We work pretty regularly with mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, structural engineers, just to name a few, and then we also work with architects quite a bit on our construction projects. So just be aware that there's probably an engineering field that does the things that you enjoy the most, and with a little research, you can figure out which one is most interesting for you. I like civil engineering mostly because it takes my projects are outdoors and I get to get out of the office quite a bit to visit the sites that we're working on, and then also to go visit and help the projects kind of proceed through construction. So I really enjoy that, not being sitting at a desk all the time and being able to get out and see the work that's being built. It's really enjoyable to see the things that you spend months and months designing get constructed. I also really like civil engineering because a lot of the projects I work with are constructed in the city that I live in, and then also the communities surrounding us. So I really feel like the projects that I work on get to help the community out, improve our streets and sidewalks and utilities for the city, and it's really a good feeling when you can help your community improve.
So, as you're considering your careers, I hope that you're able to consider the construction industry. I strongly recommend engineering and or the trades. They're both really rewarding professions and also essential. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.